Shalom Kaitz. In English or Hebrew?
In English.
In English. Hello, my name is Dan Russell, and I am what you see. People take from me what they're most interested in, and I'm a father, and it's hard to introduce myself further than that.
Can you give what do you do in life?
What do I do in life? I teach martial arts. I work as a shaman in England. I have a clinic, and people come to me with all kinds of queries or problems or things they want to get better at. It's not always a problem. Sometimes they're much better at what they do than I am, but they want to improve. And they find that working with trance, going deeper inside their consciousness, can help them with that.
1 second. One second. You hear everything later, you hear everything, so better to try to be. חברים, אם אתם תוכלו לדבר לא מאוד חזק, זה מאוד יעזור לנו. אם תוכלו לדבר לא מאוד חזק, זה מאוד יעזור לנו. כמובן תדברו, אבל פשוט...
Go inside maybe.
לא, הכל בסדר. So, can you tell us about your background? You've been living in a Buddhist monastery?
That's right. I was at Cambridge University.
Always when I ask you a question, repeat the questions. So you can say, I did live in or have you been in Israel? I have been to Israel, and then go farther.
Thank
because
you.
I want to have
Thank
the
you.
question.
I practiced meditation, but didn't find anybody that could help me. And I took a lot of drugs, including peyote and in Mexico, and that was very exciting, but also hell for me. And I met a Lama, Tibetan Lama, while I was at Cambridge University, and he helped me very much, and I went to live with him. His name was Trungpa, Chogyam Trungpa, and after we parted company, he actually became very famous in America. But that was after I didn't see him. I didn't go to America with him. Mm-hmm. But I did go to the Himalayas with him, and I traveled in the Himalayas and met many amazing people that I wouldn't have been able to meet if I hadn't known Trungpa.
Mm. So, do you define yourself as still practicing Buddhism?
I'm very fond of Buddhism, but I don't find that the label of Buddhism is helpful to me in any way. So I still practice meditation every day, and I use my trance experiences that I've developed when I'm with people. And I have a great respect for Buddhism, but I don't call myself a Buddhist.
Mm-hmm. So how do you define what you do, your work with trance?
How do I define what I do? I don't define what I do. Right? I have no real awareness. The more I do, the more I practice, and I've been practicing for well over 50 years, the less I know what I'm doing. But the more effective it is when I work with people, and the more pleasure I get out of it too. Mm-hmm. The more enriches my life, I should say, rather than pleasure. Mm-hmm.
How do you define consciousness? What is consciousness in your eyes?
I don't know. What is consciousness in my eyes? I feel that consciousness is very well defined by Buddhist psychology as having about 6 different kinds of awarenesses, and behind all those awarenesses is our deep conscious mind, which is very deep and much deeper than who we think we are, or who we feel we are, or who we say we are, or who we hear we are. It is much deeper than that.
Okay, you say it's deeper, but what is it? Is it part of the divine, part of God, or what is
I have no idea. Is it part of the divine or part of God? I have no answer to that question, but it's very attractive to me, very compelling, and it takes me nearer to who I feel I am, and it could be the result of millions of years of genetic inheritance, or the blessings that I've received from my ancestry, and you have too received the same, and who it is beyond me, really.
So when you do your practice and people kind of go to trance, where do they actually go? Where do their consciousness go?
Where do people go when they're in trance?
Yes.
Is quite different from hypnosis. First of all, I always go into trance first to enrich my own consciousness and get my own concentration, and that is an invitation to other people's unconscious to join me. So they just join me in my trance, and in that trance we can address whatever it is that the person wants to address. Obviously, if people come to me, it's not for me to address what I want to address, although I do use trance to address my own dilemmas. I just listen to what the other person presents, and we use the trance techniques in many different ways to bring about physical or emotional changes in their consciousness.
So doing the work, you are connected in some way that we cannot see with our eyes, with your
Yes, yes, very, very connected in a very deep way. Very connected in a very deep way, that our minds become one.
Can you explain how it works?
I have no idea. Explain how it works. I have no idea how it works. That's beyond me, but the more I do it, the more I realize that pragmatically it works.
Do you think all minds are connected in some way?
Do I think all minds are connected in some way? Yes, I do think that with my intellect, and I've never met any mind that I don't feel connected to, but I can't be sure.
Personally, I see a metaphor in the internet. It's kind of an internet of different minds, which are like computers connected to one
Yes.
big net. How do you see it? What is your metaphor to explain this kind of connection?
I think we are all very closely connected to each other genetically, going back millions of years, and we're all related to each other. And I believe almost like, like an ant colony, for example, we're completely connected. And what we do affects people on a global level and on a personal level, because we're all really one family. We're all descended from the same tree.
But genetic connection doesn't necessarily mean conscious connection. We are talking about the consciousness connection.
Yes, so I'm not sure that the genetic connection and conscious connection might be the same. Just like if you take an oak tree, it grows in an oak tree, but of course the oak tree produces acorns, and the acorns are conscious, and the oak tree lives on as one entity, which could last for millions of years, as opposed to just being one oak tree. And the same with us. We think we're individuals and have a separate identity, as an ego, we call it, but actually we're a very important part of the human race. It's like a chain, and without us, the chain would be broken. So we might have parents, for example, who let us down in some way, but we are the product of love. That's where we came from. And even if those parents couldn't handle it, we are still connected to our grandparents and our great-grandparents who gave us it, and their love is passed down to us. And
So
we will pass it down to our children, all
I
being
will
well.
repeat and paraphrase what you're saying. So all of consciousness of humanity is like a tree. She's connected to one root system, let's say. Do you agree?
That's my theory, and it's an intellectual theory, so I can't say that it's true or not, but it feels to me like that. I feel that all humanity is connected, and we make troubles for each other and have wars and fight each other, but actually that's a big mistake, because we're all connected in some way.
If I hurt you, in some way I hurt myself.
That is, if you hurt me, you hurt yourself, is a very wise thing to say.
Buddhism says that we are living in a Maya world, a world of illusion. Can you explain this idea in your eyes?
The idea of Maya is a very skillful psychological way of explaining the reality we live in, because we are all interpret reality because of our various senses, and the reality we interpret is inside our consciousness. Right? So you could say that anything outside of our consciousness is illusory. However, as the lamas have taught me, if you can't balance that insight in a genuine way, not in an intellectual way, I mean, in a genuine way of perceiving that everything is just a mixture of atoms and so forth, then it's better to be on the side of reality than unreality, to be on the side of what we actually perceive. As they say, if a snake comes towards you and you say it's not real, you're liable to get bitten and killed, which is not a very good solution to your life. So better to err on the side of reality than to err on the side of maya or illusion.
I'm very sorry, but I think there was like lots of noise.
Yes.
Can you repeat the question again, because there's lots of movement and this is a very crucial for my film, the point.
You asked me what I think about the Buddhist idea of maya, which is illusion, illusory reality. And it's true that when we meditate, that concept is very important to understand that everything comes from our senses and is interpreted by our mind. So there's no concrete evidence that we could say that you exist or I exist, except what is inside me. So this could be all a dream. And the deeper we go into meditation, the more interesting that theory is, and the more we experience the idea of maya, right? However, until we can, which I haven't, until we can really balance that and grasp that clear scientific reality, because it's clearly scientifically correct, it's better to be on the side of reality than the side of saying everything is illusory. And I gave the example that if a snake comes to you, poisonous snake, and you say it's just illusion and it kills you, and then the game's over.
Can we use this metaphor, this idea of Maya in our lives? Can we take some advantage to make our lives better in some way? It's certainly very important and very enriching into our lives to understand that we are not who we think we are, or who we say we are, or even who we feel we are, and that all our reactions are interpretations of what we perceive.
And that means that, we can attach less importance and let go of things which to some people are very important. And we can say, well, they really don't matter. They really don't matter at all.
Why?
Why?
Why they don't matter?
Why they don't matter? Well, to say it doesn't matter may be a little misleading, because you could also say everything matters, but it's like an illusory reality. It's not important. What we think is less important than who we really are. So when we go into deep meditation, we understand that sometimes thinking, or a lot of people are concerned with, say, their self-image, or how rich they are, or whether people love me or don't love me. And this is just internal emotional urges, which are not necessarily bad, but they're just stemming from something inside. Right? So we don't really need people to love us, but it's a nice feeling.
So you are talking about those definitions outside, I'm that. Who are we under those definitions?
Who are we under?
Who are we under those definitions, you say, or feelings, or all of the more shallow parts of reality? Who are we underneath it?
Who are we underneath that reality is an answer that I can't give you. All I know is that the deeper I practice meditation, the more I practice meditation, it enriches my life. It makes me feel good to be alive. I feel really good to be alive. And it makes me feel love for everybody around me. And life is very beautiful. And that's not ultimate reality, but it's good enough for me for the time being.
You are talking about love, and I have the feeling that love might be the connective tissue of this tree you're talking about. The human collective tree, we are connected throughout love, through love.
If we are connected throughout love, I think that is a very wise observation. And I can't say that I understand it completely, but that's what brings me here. That's what makes me feel it's wonderful to be with people, and makes me feel that people are my friends in love. And not only that, but we go back millions of years, and we feel we're also connected to the flowers and the trees and all this wonderful life that's on this planet. And that love extends to that too.
Amazing. You have amazing answers. It's very good and
thank
useful
you,
for film.
Kaitz.
What do you think, if you can speculate, is the purpose of Maya? Why does this exist? Why does the world we perceive with our senses exist? What's the point of it?
The purpose of Maya is maybe a criticism, because when we think things, or when we feel things, or hear or see things, we can say they're illusionary or Maya. But what a wonderful dance this is! What a wonderful dance! That we can have so much love and fun in the world, and if we don't hang on to the Maya aspect of it, or make it too real, then we can just dance with whatever we have, dance with life. And as for what is the purpose of it, I have no idea.
So the film deals with the simulation theory that says that the world is kind of a simulation for us. This is how it's connected to the Maya idea. And the thinker behind this theory, his name is Nick Bostrom. He wrote a paper in 2003 called Simulation Theory. And he's saying that the world is, his analogy is a computer game. It's like we're coming to this world, and we can have a few stages, maybe reincarnations. We learn something, we might go away. Do you connect somehow to this kind of idea?
I think I connect to the idea, the problem with all religions is that people experience ecstasy and then they start to intellectualize about what it's about. And this guy sounds like he's experiencing life and he's making some intellectual framework like another religion about what it's about. And I just wish we didn't have to do that. Just dance and enjoy life.
That's a beautiful answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Buddhism, which you learned for years, talks about reincarnations, or like us coming back to this life, maybe to learn some more lessons. What is in your eyes the idea of reincarnating and coming back here again and again?
What do I think about reincarnation?
Yes.
Is that everything we've experienced, in my experience, we can understand in terms of our lifetimes, dating from conception, our experiences in our mother's wombs, and experiences as children, babies, and that is always explains how we are and who we are. Sometimes people have come to me and asked to go back into their incarnations, and I respect that. And you can take them back to some degree inside their minds. How real it is, I don't know. It's certainly effective. If people want to go back into their reincarnated, you could help them. But what I normally say to people is, it doesn't seem that relevant because everything is understandable in terms of this life. Dating back to your time within your mother, for example, as well, of course.
Are you familiar with the work of Dolores Cannon?
Of?
Dolores Cannon.
No, I don't.
Also,
no, I don't remember.
Buddhism talks about exiting the world of samsara, coming to enlightenment. Is that a purpose of yours? Is that something you see as an end goal?
Buddhism talks about moving towards enlightenment, and I'm so far away from enlightenment I can't judge in that. But what is even nicer that Tibetan Buddhism it talks about becoming a bodhisattva, and a bodhisattva is somebody who is on the path towards Buddhism, he or she hopes, and it delays that satisfaction so he or she can help other people with love. And that's a nice dance to have, to spread the love before seeking your own arahat idea of your own salvation.
And what happens if Buddhism has the answer, or maybe you happens after you reach salvation? Like, do you connect back to source? Do you finish with this reincarnation game?
I will let you know when it happens.
Okay. Is there, if it is a kind of a game, a Maya, who's running it? Who's the boss?
Is it a game of Maya? It's not, to me it's not a game. It's a wonderful, beautiful dance. And I'm not aware who's running it, and I don't really care. I just want to enjoy the dance. And if they turn the dance off, well, so be it. But meanwhile, we can dance on.
Is there a choreographer? A choreographer to this dance?
Good question, a very good question. And I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer.
So, if you can sum it up, just you can pick from any issue we talk about. What kind of implication does it have in our life, and how can these issues we talk about be implemented? Maybe is a tip or idea.
We should understand, how can it be implemented, is that we should understand from our conditioning that affects our minds and our outlooks. And the nature of what we're after from childhood onwards is love. And sometimes we drift away from that and become angry, impatient, judgmental. And these are all conditioning that we've received from our families, our peers, and so forth. So we must learn to let go of these negative characteristics. And one way you can let go is if somebody makes you angry, to realize that you're making yourself angry, right? And you should thank the person.
How, after going through this very big journey in your personal life, what changed from the hippie 60s young man to today? Maybe like one or two of your biggest lessons or the biggest things you can share with us?
Life is
Personal journey.
My personal journey started being brought up with a Jewish family, and I was born just after the Holocaust, and I realized when I was about 12 years old, 10 years old, that I needed to be a fighter, and ever since then I've been determined to learn how to fight, which I thought all Jews should have learned how to fight in the time of Nazi Germany. But of course they didn't have the opportunity. And since then, that has taken me to meditation. That's how I met my Tibetan Lama friend, and he taught me that to be a warrior is very good, but that's much deeper than just martial arts.
You've talked about working with peyote.
I did. Yeah,
you mentioned it before.
Yes, that's right.
Do you feel this is a tool that can take us out of our day-to-day perception, maybe a little bit out of the illusionary Maya concept, or what does it do?
Yeah, well, when I was young, I experimented with many drugs and took them a lot. When I'm talking about a teenager. And no question that they can take you out of your day-to-day perception and experience many things which are not accessible to most people's rational mind. The problem is that's not controlled, and after you've taken the drug, you're back at square one, but with limitations, because it can be a hellish experience. And through meditation, you learn how to control it yourself without taking drugs, A. And B, if you then decide to take drugs, it becomes very enjoyable, much more enjoyable.
But what do you think they do, the psychedelics? Do they open up some realm of reality that we don't see?
Yes, I believe so. I think they take you into the present. And they release all these things about about thinking.
Yes, let's just restart the sentence, please.
I think hallucinogenic drugs remove the barriers to perception in a way which is very dramatic. So they take you out of your normal conditioned thinking processes, and you experience things very immediate and real. The only trouble is that they wear off, of course, after a few days or a period of time, depending on what it is, and then you're back in your old situation, except that you have thoughts about this other world that you've experienced, but thoughts are just thoughts, not experiences.
Do we have control over this dimension, this world, or is it? Do you see it as kind of written? Do you see our free will, or is it predetermined? Next question.
I think we have free will. Yes, you know, you could make a choice what you do, and of course, you know, your parents and your friends affect those choices. But you know, the saying that all this world is just a narrow path, right? And the main thing, as the rabbi said, is not to be afraid and walk along that path and listen to yourself, so you don't make too many mistakes.
Beautiful. Do you have anything you think you want? You have any question that's raised?
I'll just add one thing, if it's okay.
Yeah.
I practice Chinese medicine, and in Chinese description of the world, there's a thing called Jing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the essence of in people, and you're born in a certain amount of Jing, and we use it. It's like a battery.
Mm-hmm.
So when you use different drugs, use a lot of Jing, so you become weaker in a way,
Mm-hmm.
and sicker, and
Mm-hmm.
all the consequences.